Hello! It's me! I'm back! Hello, friends. It's so nice to be back for a little bit on Twitch. And thank you so much for joining me today. So, thank you so much, Mabel and Novakin, for being there as per usual. I really appreciate you. Hi, Plum. Hello. It's nice to have all of you in the room. Okay. Um, I know it's been a while. I feel like September is just, a roller coaster, right? Hi, Faith. Oh my God, it's so nice to see everyone. Hello, Eric, in the French way. Thank you so much for being here. Well, first of all, I hope everyone's doing great. I hope you're all holding on with the state of everything and like pushing on through the next few months of the year already, which is crazy to think about if you ask me. But I'm glad that we have been pushing together through the year, actually. So I feel like we all made a lot of progress. A lot of just things happening. Just for a quick recap for everyone, this is, first of all, Heal the Deal. This is a Metaverse Emotional Support Club that I created in January 2021. And we provide daily support. And in this specific case today, I'm going to be doing a little monthly mental health recap, which is a kind of live where I go through just like emotional data, as you can see right there in my little app, which is called Delio. And yeah, it's just like something that I love doing, and I usually ask myself some questions, and you can also answer those questions for yourself as well and tag along with me if you would like. Please follow me on Twitter. Oh my God, yes, I should, actually. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, hold on, everyone pose. I need to do my duties because I'm very bad at just being on Twitter lately. So sorry about that, but I got you. Okay, done. Sorry. I'm just so overwhelmed and like, I don't know, like, do you guys are still that much on Twitter these days? Because I feel like I've been obviously like less on Twitter for the whole year, because I feel like I was talking about that the other day, well, actually yesterday, on a podcast I was recording with an amazing girlfriend creative. And I was like, like the algorithm on Twitter and like the algorithm on the metaverse and like the engagement in the metaverse is not really defined by like the algorithm of the social media per se, but it's really just defined by the market itself. So it's like the market is the algorithm. And I'm not sure that I'm very comfortable with that, because I wasn't very comfortable with the algorithm at first. In the first place, like, right, it's not something that I really enjoy, even if they're necessary. I assume so. But like the market being an algorithm for me is something that I really don't vibe with, because I'm not really much about like the numbers. I just really want to be able to see people's work, and I want people to see my work. That's basically it. Like, I just want to feel heard and seen. That's it. So it is a bit conflicting, but it's been interesting because I've been obviously like distancing myself from that and trying to find, I guess, new opportunities and things that I've perhaps like put on the side for a bit. So, for example, September was very kind of on and off, as you can see, like that curve right now. It's looking a bit like the August curve from last time, if you remember, if you were there. This episode is also on YouTube, by the way. But it was like super nice because like obviously I had like all of this amazing summertime, friends coming, just like taking time off and just like going with the flow. But then like anytime, like I feel like anytime I have like some responsibilities that pile up, shits go down. Like it's inevitable. What's the name of the app? The app is called Dailyo, so just writing in for you there. And you can find it on Android and iPhone, I feel like. Yeah, it should be on both. It's super, super helpful. And I try to be very punctual using it because that just gives me so much more clarity on like my patterns, like on my mental health patterns and my mind patterns, I guess. That's also something that I use when I go to my therapy sessions with my therapist, of course. I usually try to discuss this curve with her because I feel like it's very helpful for me to remind myself of everything that happened, because I tend to really just forget about things that have upset me because I just get upset all the time. So it's really difficult to just remind myself about what upset me at that time, and what's upsetting me now. So I feel like it's just important to track those things down. And so that's what I do within the app. I just have that mood scale there. Oh my god, the mailman's there. Please hold on. Oh, I hate it when this happens. Okay, hold on. Hey, I'm back. This is UPS. You know them, of course. They're always on time. So I hate it because, like, obviously, again, whenever I am doing something very important, like in meetings and all of that, like the mailman is always there. It's like inevitable. It's all the time. By the way, this is very exciting because these are my new keycaps set, by the way. So just so you know, I was very excited about it. Anyways, hi Blake. What was I saying? So yeah, I submit my moods in the application, and then I also write like a couple of lines sometimes when something upset me, because I just tend to forget. And it's weird because like you would think that you don't forget about the things that upset you, but the reality of it is that when a lot of things upset you and when you deal with a lot of mental health issues and conditions, it's just really hard to just remember those things in general. Hi Zeph, nice to see you there for the first time. Thanks for joining us. So see, for example, I don't really remember what happened on like what is it, like September 11th or something. But I assume I was pretty damn upset, right? And then I would have like to go back to the app and the details that I just submitted in the app to remind myself of that and just talk about it with my therapist, because obviously I'm not going to therapy like every single week or something, like I'm not anymore, but I am going like maybe like every 3 weeks or something, I guess, because I just love having more stuff to discuss sometimes. And also because like something that upset me, for example, a week ago would not upset me like this week. So it's a bit exhausting, to be honest. That's also something my partner told me the other day. It's like, you know, it's like he's obviously very patient with me and all of that, but he's like, you know, it's always very difficult to know like who you're going to be every single day, and like what's going to be the predominant mood or emotion you're gonna go through during your day. And I'm just like, yes, I actually, it's very true. And I feel so very sorry sometimes to just like not being perhaps like predictable enough, I guess. Is that a thing? I feel like it's a thing. Because even for me, it's very difficult to be like, oh, like today's going to be fine. Like everything can just shift in such a small amount of time. And I know a lot of you deal with the same things as well. That's why we talk about it on the Discord every single day. And, like we talk in the morning and then at night we're like, oh my God, like this didn't go as planned and it's totally fine. It's just that sometimes I wish I was able to, get more stability in terms of moods, I guess. But the things that I feel like the things that upset me sometimes is just like the OCD speaking and peaking as well. Like it's very difficult to know when these things are gonna pop up, I guess. Hi, Allison. Well done, you. Oh my God, I love the Fall Guys emoji. Where did you get that? Is it a thing on Twitch, by the way? Like, is this something that's... I don't think so. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, my bad. It's a default emote. I'm so used to having my own ones that I just forgot to use theirs. It's so cute. Well, thank you for joining. So, what was I saying? Yeah, September. Very just up and down, up and down. I've been super busy just working, and so I've taken on this project that's a graphic design / creative direction project, right? And I love it. It's just like I talked about that on Twitter the other day, and I was like, graphic design is such another level of satisfaction for me, and like it's not comparable to art myself. Like it's not comparable for me. And I don't know, like when I do graphic design for projects, I just feel like I'm just so it's just so easy sometimes, just not being really concerned about what people are gonna be thinking or whatever. I don't know. It's just like it's very different from creating a piece of art and pouring so much emotions in that, so much tears sometimes as well. It's just like very exhausting. But also, the downside of like doing graphic design projects is that obviously I don't take as many graphic design projects as usual, and like as in the past, because obviously now I'm much more of a digital artist, right? And I know a lot of us are just like a bunch of things, right? We're not just one thing or the other. But so that means that sometimes some of the things that you are more predominant in your spectrum. And for me, graphic design has been more on the low side of my profile. So like for the last couple of years. But I know I'm so very capable of that because like obviously I have like a master's degree in graphic design. That's my main job. Like that's what I studied and I did a master's degree and a thesis in graphic design. So obviously I'm qualified for that. But the second like the client was like, oh, we want you to design that thing for us, like actually do the graphic design. I was like completely panicked. It was like, I'm not capable of doing that. Like, why would they want me to do that? Like, why are they reaching for me to do that? Like, that's very strange. This is not my main field of application right now, right? Sometimes it's just nice to do what you're told. Exactly. And you're so very right, Alison. And that's where I was going in my speech, is that sometimes I just need someone to tell me what to do and just do the thing. I guess it's because I have perhaps less client work than, for example, my first year of freelancing, where I wanted more free expression time. But now that I have all of that free expression time, I just want and need simpler things where I don't have like to brainstorm so much and pour myself so much into something. Like sometimes I just need distance, right? Because it's very difficult to be always 100% yourself and pouring yourself into something at your maximum capacity emotionally, professionally, and just technically as well. So it's very exhausting sometimes. positive parameters. Structures creates freedom. And that's very, very true. Structure. But like also the structure, it's interesting to explore structures that are not the ones that we create for ourselves, right? And that's what's interesting about client work and all of that. It's because you're also following someone else's structure, and that doesn't mean that it's bad, right? It's just another perspective. And for me, exploring new perspective and understanding new perspective is very, very important for me to grow as an individual myself. So absolutely agree. There's a deadline too. I always work better with time set for me. And the deadlines. Oh my God. Okay, so deadlines are so stressful, but also so very useful because, like, obviously, all this year with all that free time, doing absolutely nothing. Like, I did a lot of things in my head, but when it's time to make something and create something and do something with your hands, it's like it's sometimes very paralyzing. And the deadline really just makes the final push for you. It makes the final decision for you. And that's what I miss sometimes. I miss the thrill, I guess. But I'm not missing it right now because I have so many deadlines, though. So see, it's like a very complex balance, I guess, where you want something, then you have it, then you want the other thing. So it's always just a very contradictory situation, I guess. Nice to just know what is needed and do it. Absolutely. Yes, you always become more emotionally attached to your own work. It can be exhausting. See, like, and I mean, it's for everyone. Like, everyone that's a creator of matter in a general sense, like if you're creating words, if you're creating worlds as well, if you're creating art, if you're creating music, whatever you're creating, if your job is to, like, I guess, extract ideas out of your brain, which is the case for a lot of jobs, then it's very time consuming and stressful. Good for the brain. Let's go, brain. And you can learn new ways for you to express yourself through your art. With the deadlines, you kind of have to walk away instead of mulling it over forever and ever. Exactly. I wish I had some deadlines. Dilemma of choice and priority in the immediate. Well, I feel like it's tough because most of us are working by ourselves a lot of the time. And sometimes I just wish for someone to just tell me, like, you have to do this by this time. I kind of want sometimes to ask my friends and be like, would you please set a deadline for me on this? And I set a deadline for you on this. And we push each other and pressure each other a bit to actually meet that deadline. That's something I have been considering. Also for my partner as well, because I know we both have like some issues with meeting deadlines for different reasons. But that's something that's something that I've crossed my mind, and I will see if I make this happen in the near future, I guess. Finding someone who's willing to do that with me when it comes to more personal projects or something that's more tied to the brand itself, my brand. So yeah, deadlines and work and clients and structure, that pretty much sums up September for me. And obviously, it's a lot of passion, it's a lot of self-doubt, it's a lot of imposter syndrome, because I was talking about, like, graphic design and just like being not used to work as much on graphic design as I used to before, and feeling like I've lost all of my capacity in doing so. But that's very not clever of me to do so, because that means that I'm just ignoring everything that I achieved before and all of the things that I worked on before to get to this point, and just being professionally qualified for that. So, like once the anxiety of that is settled, I feel like I did move on pretty nicely on the project. I'm very happy with how it's looking so far, but what I'm less I not happy about, but like I feel like I could have done better is to perhaps knowing that I had all of those deadlines, I could have said perhaps no to certain things. And I know this is something that, for example, Plum and I discussed on the Discord earlier this week, where he asked me, like, what is something that you can do to make your day easier, right? Considering all of that. And it was like, maybe you stop taking on that many calls every day because it's crazy. I just have calls every day. And I know it seems a bit silly to say so because, like, obviously, like when you work at an office job or something, you always have meetings and all of that. But I just feel like calls and meetings and are just so unproductive sometimes for me, and they just cut my day in bits and bobs, and I don't get to do anything in those in between moments where I wait for the other call because I know I have the call coming and I don't have enough time to just fully immerse myself in working on the project that I have to work on, for example. And I just get stuck and then therefore procrastinate more and therefore feel so bad about myself at the end of the day. And I feel like completely worthless because I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't do anything. I'm just, like I'm just a lazy piece of shit. And just saying it out loud because that's pretty much what I say to myself inside my head. And I know it's not great. Don't do that, by the way. But it's just like, it's not like I wish I didn't say yes to so many things. But if you know me, you know that's something that I do. Like, because of like being a people pleaser and just always fearing of like being left out or disappearing in the extreme large ocean of artists out there, I just feel like I always have to say yes to a lot of things. And I'm like, oh, yeah, perhaps I shouldn't have. But I feel like this time it's not that bad. Like it could have been worse, but it could have been better as well. It's a different mode of being, working, thinking, calls, talk, errands, and deep work. Yeah, exactly, because every of these steps throughout the days are very different and requires different structures. So you're always shifting from a structure to another and just always readapting yourself to a new way of getting through that step of your day, I guess. And that's why I understand it could be very difficult for a lot of people who perhaps have more difficulties adapting to new situations and all of that. And sometimes it's just very paralyzing, I guess. Trying to do the right thing, immediate and delayed pressure, different brain activity. Yeah, definitely. Trying to do the right thing, coming back on that, it's like very subjective, of course. Like doing the right thing is something that obviously depends on the individual itself. And I guess if, like for me, doing the right thing is to be professional, stay busy as much as I can, like in an healthy way, but like being busy, like having the sensation of achieving something for me is doing the right thing. And for example, for someone else, it's not going to be the same thing. And that just really, all of these parameters during the last month have been just playing a lot with my brain, and those kind of parameters usually just make my OCD peak more, I guess, because it's just a lot of organization. And the more I organize, the more I go into states of, like, not a trance state, but like it resembles like a trance. Like, it's just how to explain that? It's very ecstatic, right? I feel like my body is tense. I breathe like very quickly, and I just go through the steps, and I'm just like, okay, let's go. Let's go now. Let's go now. And just like I feel like a whole different person. And I don't know, like I feel like I just wish to find a better in between version of myself than all of the personalities that I have so far. Like I kind of want to create a new one, an in between one sometimes, because that's how I feel. Like I feel like there's a lot of me's inside of me as a physical envelope, I guess. But I'm missing one. Like I feel like the more I grow, the more I'm missing one. The more I'm missing a new personality that's going to fit all of the things that I really wish for. But I'm comfortable with waiting for it to happen and to build this new persona, I guess. It just takes a lot of time. It's hard to discern sometimes what the correct action in the immediate might be. I get stuck in the middle of the channel, sussing out the risks benefit. Yeah, so what do you do? Like, by the way, like that's an interesting point of view, but like because we talk about discerning things and like being stuck in between. Like, what's for you something that makes you go into one direction or the other? You usually have nightmares. I usually have them, and when I spend a whole day overthinking things. Oh, that's very interesting. I have a lot of nightmares. Are they nightmares? I feel like for me, nightmares, there's like a different kinds of nightmares. There's like nightmares that are more visual and like the concept, and there's nightmares that are more about the sensations, so like the anxiety, the fear of something that's very blurry and undefined. But I do have a lot of nightmares, and I haven't really tracked why and where they come from, and like the hows and whys. I don't think I track my dreams too much. I do remember my dreams very vividly, but I haven't taken the time and actions to monitor my dreams yet, because I feel like that's another whole level of like learning about yourself that needs to be taken very seriously, I guess, because like dreams just are a lot. I mean, according to Sigmund Freud, right? They are a lot. Do you have a lot of so you mentioned you have a lot of nightmares when you overthink, but are the things that you're having nightmares about are something that you experience throughout the day or not? Because I noticed that a lot of my dreams, nightmares, and all that are just like a bunch of things from the day, but like put like in a Netflix show, I guess. Like it's like in a very funny and dramatic way, I guess. And for example, like I don't know why, but like I've been dreaming about Justin Bieber so much lately. And I don't even listen to Justin Bieber. I don't even follow him on social media. I don't know why. Like, why, Justin? Why won't you leave me alone? So, okay, so, like, for example, tonight, like, I mean, last night, I dreamt about doing Selena Gomez makeup. Yes, he's Canadian. He is Canadian originally. So he dreamt about doing Selena Gomez makeup, And she was like on stage and she was like, okay, I'm introducing some very, very important people to me. And she introduces like her manager, her mom, and whatever. And then she's like, and this is me, my friend, Alicia. And I'm just like, what? Okay. So I go on stage and she's like, ha ha ha, hee hee hee, ho ho ho. I'm just like, okay, that's great. Well, I'm happy to be here. I mean, she's a lovely human, I guess. And then I get to do her makeup, but like everyone's judging me so bad because they're like, who the fuck are you for Selena Gomez to quote you on stage? And I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know either. I'm just there. It's my dream. I'm just there. And so I do her makeup and whatever. Then I go into the shower. And then she comes in with Justin Bieber. And I'm naked in the shower. And Justin Bieber is there. And it's like, I'm naked. I'm just like, well, guys, that's great to see. But like, I'm taking a shower. So perhaps you could go away. I'm just saying. So they went away, but they made me scrub the shower so bad. Like they were like, okay, but you have to scrub the shower now. Like actually scrub it. And it was like, okay. And then everyone was watching me scrub the shower. And then I just wanted to leave. Like I was humiliated. I don't know. It was weird. Anyways. So is this a nightmare or is this a dream? That's up to you to decide. Scrubbing the Canadian mind, right? It's so silly. I don't know. So the last time I dreamt about Justin Bieber was him giving me his jacket that was a Mickey Mouse jacket. That's it. That's the dream. So yeah, I have very, very weird dreams. And sometimes it's very nice because like, you know, like I get to wake up and have a good laugh, right? At least yeah, there was like every anxiety dream to roll into one. Yeah, I mean the naked theme, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I always dream that I'm naked in public and I get so anxious about it. Like literally like being naked in a dream for me is like a nightmare. Straight up nightmare. Naked in a shower on the stage with celebs being judged by the whole audience. That's bad. But see, now that I'm talking about it and reminding myself about the dream, that means that, you know, it's like a reflection on how I want to be pleasing people, but I'm like afraid of showing my vulnerability and people judging me for it or whatever. I guess. My anxiety dream 2 nights ago was trying to find my dog at a shelter and them telling me that the wrong dog was mine. Okay, so you found your dog at the shelter, but it wasn't your dog. So where was your dog? Poor thing. Oh no. I couldn't find them. Oh no. So they went into like a wormhole, I guess. Poor things. They escaped into the universe. Naked in dreams is a novel feeling. It is. But the dog thing is like very sad because like it's like just like trying to find like a family member or something. That's really sad because that makes me think about like so our family dog passed away this year, and it was like so sad. Poor thing. And like I always remember about it now sometimes when I dream about it, and I was like I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe that next time I'm going to see to go in France and see my parents he's not going to be there. So poor thing. The night before my first day of teaching 10 years ago, I had a dream I was late and forgot to get completely dressed. It was so upsetting. oh no. Oh no. Don't do that. That's the worst thing. Like, it's the same for me, actually. I feel like in my dream, I just forget to get dressed. I'm like, how would you forget to get dressed? Like that's not something that's ever gonna happen in real life, right? I don't think so. Because you would never forget to get dressed and go outside, I guess. Like, not like, if you want to, then you might, but you wouldn't. So it's such a weird nightmare to have, and I don't know why the brain is like, yeah, this is bad. You would do that. It's just tricking you into doing things, I guess. But so that made me think about like sleep and all of that, because like we were talking about dreams, but like how do you guys sleep on a daily basis? I want to know. I know like Plum and I talk a lot about sleep because like we are very exhausted, of course, and I know it's very subjective, but I feel like my sleep pattern this year has been pretty terrible. Like, sleep who? Like, who is she? Like, what does she do for a living? I don't know. Because, so I'm waking up earlier and earlier every single month, I guess. Like, it's like at the beginning of the year, I was like waking up at 9. Now I'm waking up at 6. So it's 3 hours earlier in like 9 months or something. Part of that is that because I feel like, one, I feel like I'm not being productive enough during the day, so I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna wake up earlier. 2 is because I feel like I'm more productive during the day, so I was like, oh my god, maybe if I just like wake up earlier, it's going to be nice, and then I can go and sleep earlier as well, because waking up earlier, you would think that you would go and sleep like earlier as well. But that's not the case. So clearly I fucked up somewhere. Because I'm just trying to see, like, I've read all of those things about like the circadian rhythm and whatnot, and how it's important for hormones to be sleeping earlier during the night, instead of like going to bed like at like midnight or 1 or something. So I've been trying to do that, but I don't know if it's really working because I'm just always exhausted. And especially if I go to sleep earlier, what happens is that most of the time I wake up like perhaps like let's say I go to bed at like 10:30. I will wake up at like midnight or 1, like out of the blue like that, and I will think that it's time to get up. So a lot of the times, like, this happens like at least 1 time per week, where I just wake up at like 1 and be like, okay, this like I just imagine that the alarm started off, and I feel like, okay, like I'm waking up, going to the bathroom, starting to do my skincare, and then I look at my phone and I'm just like, it's 1 in the morning. What are you doing, you silly girl? Just go to bed. And I don't know why. My mind is like, yeah, it's time that you wake up. Like, it's time that you actually start your day. So that's why I feel like it's weird for me to just go to bed so early. And perhaps like 10:30 is not very early for some people, but for me, I feel like it is, because that just gives me, like, let's say 2-3 hours of free time in the evening before I go to bed. And I'm much more of a person who needs like perhaps like 4 to 5 hours per day of not working, not being on the computer, doing my own things like reading, playing games, and all of that. And I feel like going to bed so early, I don't feel like I'm fulfilling that part of my needs, I guess. Have you ever looked at visuals of well-known creative people's sleep patterns? You're being a creative. No, I haven't. Actually, I haven't. And I would be very curious to know about that. I feel like it could be so interesting to take like all the like, let's say, like our creative friends over on Twitter or something, and just compile like everyone's sleeping data, I guess, and dreams and nightmares, and just have like a little booklet of all of that. I just love doing books, so I always think in books, right? that's my that's my main thing. I love doing books. So I just always think about content as a book, but it could be really anything. But I'm very curious about that because I know for a fact that a lot of creatives are more productive during the night, have more interesting ideas during the night, and all of that. I don't feel like that's very much the case for me. Like at night, it's for me, it's very much the time to do all the things that makes me feel very comfortable, very just chill and relax. Like all of the things that I love doing, I save them for nighttime. So for example, I'm gonna save like my favorite meal of the day for nighttime. I'm gonna save playing for nighttime, my favorite YouTube videos for nighttime and all of that. Because I feel like it's more like a time of like cuddling and just like being cozy, I guess. But a lot of people are not like that. So I don't know. It's very personal. But yeah, sleeping pattern is bad. And I feel like after this project is done, so I'm planning on having some time off by October 19th. I'm going to be out of office. I mean, I'm going to be in the office because the office is my house. Duh. But my dad's coming to Canada, and it's the first time, and it's going to be so nice. So obviously I was like, I am not going to work. Like, it's not negotiable. And I'm hoping that I'm going to have like a more decent sleeping pattern, because the way I can see that my sleeping pattern is so fucked up and that I'm so exhausted is that, for example, in the weekends when I take weekends off, all I do is waking up, going to the gym, so I can cross that from the list, and then I come back home and I just sleep all day. Like I go in and out of sleep. Like I could watch something and just fall asleep. I could be on a chair and I could start sleeping, and I just noticed that I sleep more everywhere in general, which wasn't the case before, like when I was younger, I guess. Now I just sleep everywhere. If you put me in the car, I will sleep. The other time we were on a boat, I was sleeping on the boat. If I go to the restaurant and there's like a downtime and the chair is a bit comfortable, I will probably have a little eye on the side like that. It's fascinating, all over the place and shifting around the sleeping and waking patterns, different modes of activity needs. Yeah, it's really fascinating, especially when you live with someone. Obviously, you learn the other person's rhythm as well, but it's always interesting how it affects your daily routine as well, right? And how it can either bring you closer or pull you apart from that person sometimes, because rhythm is key to a lot of things emotionally, and especially in connections with others. You know, like that's why sometimes you're friends with people and then you stop being friends with said people because your rhythms do not align anymore. And I love the fact that we call these rhythms, because like it refers to like music and just like how things need to be synchronized, as I guess. And for me, it's really about that and finding ways of working around that synchronicity with other people, and finding people that are in the same tune, on the same octave, the same notes as I am. And it takes a lot of work, I guess, and especially with, let's say, your partner or something. It's so much work to do, and a lot of compromises as well. So it's always about finding the very specific part of each other's rhythm where you are aligned to make the most out of that time, because obviously it's not possible to be 100% in sync with someone else, but it's about finding the right moments and windows of that period of time where you can be in sync together and make the most out of it. So it's hard because that means that you always have to be very aware and alert, I guess, about each other's rhythm, hobbies, schedules, project, whatnot. Sometimes it can be exhausting. Sometimes that's why a lot of times I'm just like, oh, maybe, like it was so easy when I was like alone, because sometimes you don't have to worry about that. And that's also a worry that you have on top of other of your personal issues and worries and all of that. But there's a lot of positive that comes from it, and I'm trying to learn about that and trying to see the positive in worrying about someone else, and not seeing everything as bad or very time consuming or exhausting. My wife has different sleep times, habits, and we're opposites. She sleeps so heavily. I'm a light sleeper. And even though she is, that means that it's still working though, because you've been together 15 years. Congrats. Happy birthday, by the way. I know it's your birthday week. So it's so very inspirational. I can tell you, like, every time I hear about people's relationships and how they have been working together for so long, it just gets easier for me as well on a daily basis, and it just brings me more hope and motivation and discipline in just feeding positive energy into my relationships as well. Finding the harmonies without trying with the brain to figure what is needed. Yeah, finding the harmonies is bad sometimes, and it's not always the case. Like, that's why a lot of days are difficult, because like harmonies are changing every day. And that's why, like my partner was saying, like, oh, it's difficult to know like how you're going to be every single day. Like it's a new day every single day. And I jokingly say, like, hey, you were looking for adventure. I'm giving you another kind of adventure in your life, right? How was the podcast you did recently? It was great. So actually, it's like, I don't know, can I say that it's a podcast? Yes, I could. Well, I had this conversation with Claire from Moudelier. It's called like that, so I'm gonna write it for you in the chat. She's an amazing multitasking woman, and I love talking with women, of course, because I miss the feminine energy sometimes in the tech bro world, right? And she's fantastic. She does a lot of props for photo shoots. She does also like mirrors now, and just beautiful things and objects that brings you joy. And so the way we connected together is that I was a customer, and she was like, oh my god, I just noticed that you're also a creative and all of that, and we just really connected together. And again, that's one of my favorite part of just life in general, is to just connect out of the blue with people. And she was very interested about learning more about my perspective on anything Metaverse, NFTs, and especially more recently about AI art, because that's something I've been experimenting with. Not very comfortable with it yet. I have a lot of opinions and doubts and interest, I guess, all at the same time. And so we had a discussion about that. And it was very, very interesting. It was a long one. Like, I feel like we almost talked for 2 hours, and only stopped because I had to go and eat my broccolis. So that was like, I can get caught in conversations pretty easily, especially if the person in front of me is like very passionate about what they're saying as well. And it was amazing, to be honest. It's just fantastic to talk with someone who's not very into the same field of creation that you are, i.e., graphic design, digital art, but still have such an interest into new technologies and everything that happens in the digital world, in the creative world. And that was very much a highlight of my week so far. It was on Tuesday. And it's great. It's I think it's going to be available soon, so I will make sure to plug everyone in if you want to have a listen. We talked about a lot about my past, my journey, some anecdotes as well. Love when there's a conversation like that. Just never wanted to end. Oh, me too. It's crazy. And obviously I'm so very self-conscious about how much I talk, which was something that people always not bullied me for, but weren't very happy about. Not that when I'm with people, I'm not gonna let you talk at all. That's not the point. It's just because like communication for me is everything. It's my love language. It's the way I feel things. It's the way I understand the world around me. And it's very important for me to find this in the relationships that I have in my daily life and in my life in general, in my world, in my universe. And I just found out that it's very difficult to find people that are on the same level sometimes. And it's okay. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I get it. And I adapt myself to every situation and every person that I get to meet and that I have a relationship with. But ultimately, like in my ideal of thing, like I would be with someone who could talk like me for hours, and then we would get tired from each other, and then we won't talk for like maybe like a day, and then we can go back on. But it wouldn't be awkward. It would just be natural, right? I'm happy listening to you right now, actually. Oh, thank you, Sarah. That's so sweet of you. Oh, by the way, I hope I'm not pronouncing this in a bad way. Sarah Y? Sarah We? I didn't know that Aephoria and you knew each other. I followed Aephoria too, but it was like a crossover design of designers. Yeah, that's crazy. Yes. Oh, I thought like, I always assumed that people know that Alexi and I are very, very close because like we have been friends on the internet for a lot of time. Then I moved in the same city. Then now we are best friends and neighbors. Like literally he's living like a block next door. And it's such a beautiful thing for me to have like a friend that does the exact same thing for me in the same perimeter. We always have been relying on each other for such a long time. And even though we don't have like the same way of communicating or caring for each other, that's not something that's very bothering me, like I know he's the way he is and he knows I'm the way I am. I'm very intense. He's very more much more on the neutral and reflect on the reflection side, like is very much more balanced, I guess. And it's just so nice. And I'm always getting very emotional about it because it just reminds me of when I started freelancing after graduating, living in Paris alone, being very in a very bad emotional state, not having anyone who could relate to what I did, my situation, my values, my everything, the way I work, the way I put so much emotion into what I do, that it was very difficult. And now I'm so blessed to have so many friends that do the same things as I do. and that just understands me so well, and it just feels more like home as it has ever been. And yeah, I don't know, it's just that. Love your speaking, external processing and connection via speaking, expression, and listening, sharing, exchange. Thank you, Faith. I love you too. You know that. And I missed you so much on the Discord, so I'm so glad that you're here today. But yeah, well, okay, guys, it's already 2 p.m. and I have a meeting in like 30 minutes. See, told you. I said yes to a lot of things. And then tonight we're going to the Rex Society, the gallery I am working at. So if you don't know, like I'm a creative director there. So we're gonna have like a beautiful inauguration of like an exhibition of like Ryan Koopmans, which is an amazing artist. So it's going to be another chance for me to just connect with people. And you know, like every time I have to do something like that, I always feel like, oh my God, I don't want to go. I just need to chill at home and I'm so tired and all of that. But something that I've learned throughout the years is that all of this is a lot of my anxiety speaking. And actually when I'm in the mood and in the specified context and situation and event, I do enjoy myself so very, very much. And it puts me in such a great mood that I always try to not think about what my anxiety is telling me and just try to focus on how I'm going to feel afterwards, which I know is going to be great. So just a reminder to always analyze your thoughts, look at them, but don't trust them all the time. They're not real. They're just thoughts, you know? It's just a thing that crosses your mind. And yes, sometimes you're tired and all of that, but there's also so much more that you get from connecting with people that it's worth it, right? So yeah, on that note, I wanted to thank you all for coming today. Oh my God, I am so enlightened right now, and I feel in such a beautiful mood from reading all of you, and just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It's been so much needed, actually. It's so much needed to chat with you all and exchange perspectives on things. So thank you for always being there, always doing your best, being the best version of yourself, always being so caring and kind with each other. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your week and a beautiful weekend. Take care. I will make sure to put this video on YouTube pretty soon during the week end. And see you very soon. Bye bye.